This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
Hello, my name's Harriton Buatco. Welcome to our program. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems our democracy today is exacerbated so much due to today's communication facilities. If not the internet, our telephone, the rapid transfer of news, be it for broadsheets, television, and even electronic radio. The problem is when so much information is being thrown around, you and I don't really know exactly how to decipher it. So what do? We rely on columnists, we listen to what you call political analysts, and the academe that come on air or whoever comes in front of us to help us decipher, analyze exactly what is going on. The problem is, do you know and do you understand? Is there a comprehension of what is going on? For example, we have a president for the first time, well, other than Marcos, who's actually doing something about what he sees to be incorrect. He's actually attacking, checking, analyzing, and acting proactively, not defensively. He's looking at issues that doesn't seem correct, and he's trying his best to do something about it. Now, we have all these other people who believe that there is human rights, there is what you call rule of law, but what do you do when the weakest form or the weakest department, the weakest arm of government is the judiciary? It only takes 100, 200 years to resolve anything. What do you do when drugs, for example, has already infiltrated, what, 80, 90%, all the way down to the barangay level? What do you do when you are being run by oligarchs who've been there for the last 80, 90, 100 years and who refuse to go away? What happens when you begin to feel you have no longer any voice, you are nobody, and you just seem to follow? Are we to live like this? This is the problem. The democracy you and I are used to is not exactly the democracy you realize today. For example, in the States, they have a coming election and you have the trad poll or the trapo, which is the Democrat side who wishes to follow rule of law and what is politically correct. And you have the other guy who wants to say all the weird things and even saying the Philippines that we are terrorists. But from his point of view, is he incorrect? Or is he correct? How do we resolve the issue where in the Middle East they do nothing but shoot each other, and the United Nations, who's supposed to be the League of Nations, cannot do anything? And yet they come to us and say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. The problem is the flow of information has become so strong, yet so variable, that makes many, the establishment and the people, vulnerable. These are the issues we will discuss. With us, we have a freelance writer. He's columnist in the major dailies. He's been around. He's been a guest here. His name's Rick Ramos. Rick, salamat for being here to help me discuss current events. Umpisahan natin, ha? Okay. Alam mo, bakbaka na ngayon itong linggo nito. Ang dami nangyayari. Puntahan muna natin yung pinakamalaking issue kasi si Lima, Manila Times, nakita mo front page nila. My gosh, she's wearing a bikini, but why not? But I'm not sure if I wanted to laugh, feel bad, or get shocked. In your point of view, what's your take of what's going on with Lima? It's may immorality, and there's the drug cuddling.
Well, actually, with Senator De Lima, it seems that she has been asking for it. You know, like if you will notice, ever since after the May elections, they call him presumptive President Duterte, President-elect Duterte, was not really hitting her, for about 60 days. Okay, but what happened?
Bumanat na eh, no?
You have these incessant, attacks from Senator De Lima, and in fact, she was already warned. Okay, without naming her, and yet after that, what happened was she had a meeting with the Inquirer editors, wherein she said that President Duterte can be sued for crimes against humanity before the
Oh, nga, no?
International Court.
You're
in The
right. I
Hague.
remember that now.
Yeah, yeah. So, and he's even saying, and she was even saying that not even the immunity of the president provided in the Constitution, okay, would protect President Duterte. So, Senator De Lima, she's really so good in provoking. So I really don't know why she's doing that. It seems she's really asking for it, or she really doesn't have any brains.
Well, I think it's the latter. But going forward, it seems siyang tirador ng Yellow Army of whatever it's left. The Liberal Party, to me, in my mind, is a ship where most of the party members and what compose the Liberal Party authority and power have all jumped ship with a few of them left. There's no there's no rudder, there's no captain, there's no nothing, and she's still there trying to guide the ship to go wherever when it's going nowhere. Now, obviously, she's got a sharp tongue. Now, she's already admitted on TV na sinabon niya si Mayor Duterte during the human rights when she was, before she even became DOJ. Pumunta siya ng Davao, sila ni Eta Rosales, and she couldn't prove the fact that there was no Davao Death Squad other than Kuro-Kuro. But in spite of everything, the way she is, everyone is saying it's all karma. Why do you think she's doing? Is it really, is it stupidity? Or ano na lang to, posturing? Kasi alam niya she's going to jail very soon.
Well, one, I think my impression, which I wrote, which I have wrote even in Facebook, is that it seems she gets an orgasm every time she's in the papers. She just loves to come out in the papers, even when she was Justice Secretary.
Mukha nga.
Either in the papers calling for press conference. I have written some articles, okay, on the Department of Justice vis-a-vis the one of the National Penitentiary. And I can tell you that Secretary De Lima then really did nothing for 6 years.
Yeah,
It's
nothing.
all talk.
Yes.
It's really all talk. And then it's also a good thing what President Duterte mentioned in his 1 a.m. press conference in Davao, that they will revisit the Napoles case.
Oh, maganda yun. Puputok siya doon.
The reason for that, and I must have written over a dozen articles on the PDAP and the DAP and the Napoles case. And one thing I noticed is that
Walang kaso, di ba?
De Lima, Secretary De Lima then, he was dribbling the cases to be filed on the third batches. Okay?
Correct.
Because you
Correct.
notice,
Tatlong batches yun.
yeah, because this one exploded sometime August of 2013.
Okay. 3 years ago.
Yeah, and then sometime by September, you have the first batch. Okay, that was filed. These are sila Jenggoy, sila Enrile, sila Revilla, and then the second batch was sometime
Plaza rin.
sometime end of November. Okay, these were the guys like Biason and the other congresswoman, and so. But if you look at it, the third batch was taking a very long time because the third batch are the allies of the Aquino administration.
Liberal Party.
Yes. So she really delayed that. And so you can see that I think that's what President Duterte is referring to.
So where do you think she's going to? Where do you think she's headed?
I think she's number one. Eventually, she has to resign as senator if she has any shame
Interesting,
for
because
herself.
everybody thinks the same way. That's the general perception, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think
And
she's
maybe go to jail.
yeah, and go to jail. She's finished. I read the news report that the Justice Secretary, Vitaliano, Aguirre, has said that the Department of Justice is open of having the driver lover
And Baraan.
and
Yusek
and the
Baraan.
former undersecretary for state witness, no? And they would qualify because definitely they're not the most guilty, because of course the most guilty would be the principal, and I think this lady is really going to jail.
Enough of Dilima. We already know where she's going.
Okay.
And besides, only she thinks and perceives that she is relevant when she really is no longer relevant. Let's go to really some interesting situations, information. The UN, with what's going on, nagalit si President Duterte, sinabihan niya, Perfecto Yasay had to come out this morning to clarify situations and to basically say, relax, relax lang, mainit lang ulo ni Presidente. Your point of view.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have to realize that President Duterte did not come from a national office like a senator. I mean, without meaning to belittle Davao, he is a mayor of a small town far down south.
But he's
okay?
still the president today. Whatever he says
Yes.
is taken seriously.
That's right. But the thing is, I believe that the President, Duterte, has not really internalized that he is already the President of the Philippines.
But knowing exactly how it happened with those two rapporteurs
Yeah.
that started talking out, it's like the first few days of the president when media, Sans Frontiers, came in, they
Yeah.
started saying i-boycott siya,
Yeah,
inunahan niya.
yeah, yeah.
Now, knowing that situation and knowing the UN and basically its irrelevance with the Middle East war and what's going around the world anyway,
Yeah.
what's your new point of view?
Well, I agree with President Duterte when, he was talking of protocol. Okay.
Tama
What,
nga naman.
what the UN rapporteur could have done was should have done was course it through official channels instead of letting it known through the newspaper, through media. That's why President Duterte
So,
said bastos, no? That's rude.
So the correlation between the Lima and the UN are one and the same. They're both rude.
Yeah, I mean,
Pero to get what they, tama ba? Did they deserve what they got from the president saying, number one, di naman kayo talaga, number one, you're not really welcome here. But if you want, I will address you in media, international media. Mag-isa-isa tayo. Tama nga naman eh.
yeah, because basically, it's, him saying that I will dish out what you did to me, which is through media,
Do
right?
you agree with that? Kung sinabi niya, tanggal tayo sa UN?
Well,
Payag ka?
well, of course not. I mean, I'm sure it's just one of those statements that he mentioned even during the...
Anong ginawa ng UN sa atin? Kung hindi nagbigay si Yolanda, nawala naman, binulsa naman ng Yellow Army. Binulsa ni Rojas, di ba?
Yeah.
Wala naman tayo nakuha sa UN. Ano nakuha natin sa UN?
No, but you have to look at it from a wider perspective.
But it is wider. Let's talk to China and Africa if necessary. That's what Duterte says.
Yeah.
America is meddling. They're around here. They're protecting their interests. They have not come up and said, hey, we're going to protect you, big brother. Miski papano, Mr. Brown brother. Pag gumalaw lang yan ng konti, bibiray namin. Hindi. Pag kayo inatake, doon kami lalaban. Parang gano'n. I mean, it's a play of words. It's called double speak.
Yeah. I was listening to to our former ambassador Baha, who was the permanent
I heard it.
representative.
I heard it.
And I think what we have to realize, which is really true, is that the United Nations system is composed of different agencies, and the Philippines is a beneficiary, okay, to the assistance of the different agencies that we may not be well aware of. So I think that statement of the president is something as in the past is something that would not be taken really seriously because as you say in Tagalog, what happened was napikon lang di ba?
But assuming na, okay, assuming we already know it's masyado mabilis, it's a bit impulsive.
Yeah.
Alam natin nagalit si President Duterte, alam natin karakter niya. Pero kung tutusin mo, parang tama naman siya eh. Yan ang iisipin ng taong bayan.
Yeah.
Pero kung isipin mo, ba't natin kailangan ng UN? Bakit binibigyan tayo ng pera? Yun lang ba rason niya? Because other than that, I don't know what else they do for us.
Well, basically, the
Have they
United...
stopped China? The UNCLOS, nothing. They gave a decision and then, bahala ka na Pilipinas kung paalisin mo yan. Pero ito ruling namin. Ano ba talagang I'm just, again, exacerbating the
Yeah,
relevance
well,
of
basically,
the UN.
the United Nations is what we refer to as the community of nations around the world. And, it's the best that we have. And it's much better than if we don't have it. Because when there are certain
But-
issues, there can be sanctions that can be imposed by the United
but
Nations.
the UN is basically squatting in America, squatting in New York, with multiple representations of African countries, in a country that actually pays for most who have only one vote. Di ba? America, basically.
Yeah.
And yet they're there and they're inutil, so to speak.
Yeah.
They should do more, but they don't do more. And they have not cost more.
Yeah.
But that's exactly how President Duterte said. I mean, I hate to say it, pero alam mo, pinakinggan ko siya, alam mo, tama ka naman eh. Tama siya eh.
Well, basically, the United Nations system with the different agencies, they have their own issues, no? In terms of their bureaucracy, and I've read about them, and so you need reforms for this. And
I know the people in New York don't like them. They cause too much traffic, too many VIPs. Wala naman silang ginawa for America eh.
Yeah, and it has also been observed in developing countries, wherein you have these guys who are actually the one causing the traffic there with all of their big, huge
Cars,
HUVs and all of that.
limousines,
Yeah, so well, definitely there's abuse. I was talking to somebody who mentioned about the head of a United Nations agency here in the Philippines who's living in Forbes Park, and yet that same UN agency is asking for funding, something like
Baliktad.
that. Yeah. So why does that person have to live in Forbes?
Rick, we're going to have to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, basically the whole idea is to, while we're discussing these issues here, it doesn't mean you're just supposed to sit back and wala lang. The idea is to generate some type of critical thought so that you too may participate in what is going on. The big debate, of course, is parliamentary, the cha-cha, and the federalism. But all of this lead up to it one way or the other. So sit back, help us help you understand to generate more critical thought from you. We'll be right back.